Toya toya nitato Narsingha Vahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Vahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Narasingha Madim Sharanam Prapade Narasingha Madim Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringam Keshavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsingha Dev Jaya Narsingha Dev Narsingha Dev Jaya Narsimha Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Nitai Gauri Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol सर्व भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे
Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming for today's Raj Bhog Arati and singing so nicely. Next in the program will be a Bhagavad Gita class by one of the monks in the ashram. Bhakta Karan is very scholarly, very learned, so it'll be a very nice class. Some Krishna Kathas. If you like, you can stay in here. So that will take place in here now. And otherwise, there will be prasadam being served in the Haveli. And yeah, have a good day and see you next week. Hare Krishna.
I'm familiar with the audience and I can speak. Audience is new, so sometimes I get nervous.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So on behalf of ISKCON Bhaktivedanta Manor, we would like to welcome all of you to today's Sunday program. We'll now commence a class on one of the ancient Vedic literatures. But before we do so, as is customary, we'll sing a short prayer. And this prayer is usually sung in a call and response fashion. So I'll sing the first line, and if you could kindly repeat after me. The song, the prayer, is called Jai Radha Madhav. Raise your hands if you've heard of this prayer before. Hello, high five. No, okay, no high five. Okay, so some of you haven't heard of this prayer. It's a very simple prayer. It's called Jai Radha Madhav because the first line of the song is Jai Radha Madhav. And the words are pretty simple. So, yeah, even if you don't know the lyrics, it's fairly simple to catch on. So we do encourage everyone's participation. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana yamunatiravanachari yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Thank you everyone for your kind participation. So today we'll be reading from a book called The Nectar of Instruction. Raise your hands if you've ever heard of this book before, Nectar of Instruction. Okay, so there's one person. Okay, so maybe I'll just share a little bit about the book before we begin. So Nectar of Instruction in Sanskrit is called Upadeshamrita. Upadesh literally means instruction, the first part of the title of the book. And the second part of the title of the book, Amrita, refers to nectar. And therefore when you put the two words, Upadesh, instruction, and Amrita, nectar, together, it becomes Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita was compiled by one great saint. Does anyone know who that saint is? Do you know? That saint goes by the name Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was a saint from the 15th century, and he is considered one of the foremost of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan were direct students of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they executed 4 main instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them to first excavate the holy places. Places like Vrindavan. Has anyone ever been to Vrindavan before? Some of you. So you know what Vrindavan looks like today. Vrindavan is in the district of Mathura, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, also known as UP. And if you go there today, it's quite a hustle and bustle. Even if you went there 20, 30, 50 years ago, the place was somewhat developed with many temples. Vrindavan is also of great significance because that is the place where Lord Krishna performed his pastimes. So when during the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the land of Vrindavan was not so well known. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his students, the 6 Goswamis, including Rupa Goswami, to discover and excavate these holy places for the benefit of his generation and many generations to come, so that they could visit such holy places and derive tremendous transcendental benefit by being there. For those of you who have visited Vrindavan, you may have noticed something spectacular about that place, and the reason may be unfathomable. Another instruction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to his direct students, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, was to establish the theology of devotional service concretely by writing profusely about it, by publishing books. And so, as part of this instruction here, Rupa Goswami has compiled for our benefit the Upadeshamrita, or the nectar of instruction. Upadeshamrita has 11 verses. And out of these 11 verses, the first 8 verses talk about instructions. They tell us what to do. For the aspiring spiritualist, the next 3 verses discuss what happens when one follows those previous instructions described by bye. Come again soon. Nice to have you here. And so when one follows those 8 instructions, bye again. When one follows those 8 instructions, then one can experience perfection, as then detailed by the final 3 verses. So today we are reading from the 3rd verse of the Upadeshamrita, or the nectar of instruction. This 3rd verse and the rest of the verses have been very kindly been translated, because they were originally composed in the Sanskrit language. They've been translated by the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, to whom we are eternally grateful for compassionately making such treasure of the ancient East accessible to people all over the world. So, the first verse of the Upadeshamrita talks about how one can resist temptations. The second verse talks about things that is good to avoid when trying to make progress in spiritual life. The third verse talks about things that we can develop, things we should do to further our spiritual life. So I'll just read the third text in Sanskrit and then I'll read the translation. Utsahan nishchayat dharyat tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritte sadbhir bhakti prasidhyati. The translation is as follows. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Number 1, being enthusiastic. 2, endeavoring with confidence. 3, being patient. 4, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. 5, abandoning the association of non-devotees. 6, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So today we are discussing the 3rd and 4th paragraphs from the purport. So we'll just read the 3rd and 4th paragraphs. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. It is further recommended in the Mundaka Upanishad, Tat Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Eva Bigachet. To understand that transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. In this regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. This is a quotation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 151. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature anandamaya, pleasure-seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation opens widely. So before we begin, I'd just like to recite the Mangala Charan, offering prayers to the previous teachers so that I may be able to speak something of value. If you do know the prayers, please do join in. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you everyone for coming and joining us. So maybe I can ask you all a question if you don't mind. For how many of you is it your first time at Bhaktivedanta Manor? Raise your hands. First time? Okay, so only a few hands. So most of you have been here before. Raise your hands if it's your first time sitting in a class at Bhaktivedanta Manor. So most of you have had a class before. Okay, that's good. That's good to see. So now let me ask you, why did you come to Bhaktivedanta Manor today? I'll give you one example. One time I came to Bhaktivedanta Manor because I had exams coming up and I knew I needed to do well, otherwise I wouldn't get into university. So that's why at that particular time I had come to Bhaktivedanta Manor so I could offer some prayers. So now let me ask you, why did you today come to Bhaktivedanta Manor? Anyone? To get some peace. Yes, thank you. We have many gardens here. You can roam around and nothing to hear but simply the wind whistling amongst the leaves of the trees. Very peaceful indeed. Any other reasons? Nice day out, yes. Yeah, definitely. Out here in the countryside, many acres, many things to do. Uh-huh. Okay, so interested in seeing the cows? Yeah, we have a herd of about maybe 70 oxen and cows. Yes, definitely. Any other reasons? Farming. Okay, nice. Yeah, we yeah. Oh, nice. So you were doing that in the farm? Wow, amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we have an organic farm at the back, organic vegetable farm where we harvest many crops. So yeah. Yeah. Harvest. Wow. So you sowed the seeds also and also did the harvest. Very nice. Yeah, yeah. So you can even purchase the organic vegetables grown at the farm. So these are all wonderful reasons. Yes. To get blessings. Yes, very nice. Thank you. So these are all wonderful reasons To have a connection with Krishna, very nice, definitely. These are all wonderful reasons. The Vedic literatures describe that another reason why people may come to a holy place or a temple is to hear. And this hearing is actually very important. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse describing 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyamatma Nivedanam. These 9 processes help one to develop spiritual connection. And so hearing is actually the first item of these 9 processes. And therefore at the beginning of the purport that we read, Srila Prabhupada is saying that hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. Now one may ask, what is the necessity of acquiring transcendental knowledge? What is transcendental knowledge? You've just told us, you may be thinking that, yes, hearing is important, but what are we hearing about? And why would it be beneficial to my life? What value is there in hearing about this? So later on in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing the different journeys that we've all been on. In this present, at this present time, in this present moment, we all have our families, our places of residence, our occupations, our modes of transport. But this may not have all been the case in the past. And so change is something that's inevitable in our lives. And the Bhagavad Gita also accepts this, that inevitably there will be change. Like today there are some children sitting here in the temple room. Undoubtedly one day you will grow older. Right now you may be under 100 centimeters. So then it's difficult to go on some rides when you go to a theme park. But rest assured, one day you'll grow older. And similarly, for those of us who are a little bit older, there was a time in the past where we were much younger. Now we may be experiencing, some of us at least, those who are much older may be experiencing, especially in old age, we get aches, pains, knee problems, back problems, kidney, liver problems, etc. But there was also once a time where all these functions were working properly, in order. And so change is something that is inevitable. And the Bhagavad Gita goes so far to say that the entire body changes. The entire body changes. And this is actually also accepted by modern science. In 7 years, there is no cell within the body that is identical, because each cell reproduces and the old cells die. And so the body is continuously reproducing various cells for the maintenance of the body. And so when we look at our body on a molecular level, it is completely changed in 7 years. The Bhagavad Gita gives the analogy, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. That just as a young boy, just as the soul goes through a young boy to an adolescent to an old age, similarly the soul also passes to another body at the time of death. And someone who is sober is not bewildered by such a change. And therefore, what the Bhagavad Gita is describing is that our actual identity is not this body. It is actually a spirit soul. It is a spirit soul. And this spirit soul has various qualities. And that's also described in the Bhagavad Gita. Ajo nitya shashvatam yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. That this spirit soul is eternal, primeval. It is unborn. There was never a time where it came into being, will come into being, or has come into being. And when this body dies, when this body passes away, the spirit soul does not pass away. If anyone has ever experienced a member of their family or a relative passing away, perhaps in the hospital, they may see that the body is there. It looks exactly the same as when there was life. And it looks exactly the same as when there is no life. And so what has changed? What has changed is that the spirit soul has left the body. The life force has left the body. Therefore, even though all the elements, all the molecular atoms and components that are required for the body are still present, the body is not functioning because the spirit soul is no longer there. The Bhagavad Gita also describes and gives another analogy. Vacham sijirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani yanyani samyati navani dehi. That just in the same way that at the end of a day, we take all our clothes that we've worn for the whole day and discard them. We put them in the laundry bag. At least I hope so. And we do that because they are old, they're dirty, they're unclean. And at the beginning of a new day, we take a fresh pair of clothes and put them on. So in the same way, the spirit soul, when the body is no longer usable, is no longer functioning, is no longer optimal, the spirit soul discards the body and then takes on a new body. And so then, what this means is that when someone passes away, it is not the end of the book. It is simply the end of one chapter of their life. So then one may question that I am living this one chapter of my life in this present body. What about the previous chapters? How long is the book? What was I doing before? And these are all valid questions. Another valid question is, where am I going next? We may be thinking, what did I do in the past? But our memory is so fickle, we can't even remember what we did at this time last week. Can anyone remember? It's difficult. I can't even remember what I did yesterday. Forget 1 week ago. And so we are forgetful. And so we don't remember where we've been in the past. And at the same time, we don't know where we're going in the future. We don't know what will happen. And so there is uncertainty. And the Bhagavad Gita acknowledges this actually. And so if we look at the book of our life and we understand that the spirit soul, our deepest sense of identity, is eternal, then that means we've had many, many, many chapters of life before this. And so we may have been in various different bodies, maybe humans, maybe animals, maybe in the sea, maybe in the land, maybe in the sky, maybe as birds, maybe as fish, maybe as beasts, and maybe not. And so after many, many births, we have come to this point. We have come to this point. This human form that is now experienced by all of us is very special. Now let me ask you a question. What distinguishes a human from an animal? What is so special about being a human? Intellect, okay. Animals are also intellectual, to some degree at least, but yeah, definitely. Humans do possess specific intelligence that is expressed in various ways. Good. Any other differences that we can think of? Between animals and humans? Okay, yeah. So some animals, they can't express by words, and communication is difficult. They have other forms of communication which may not be so elaborate or sophisticated. Good. Conscious faith. Okay, interesting. What do you mean by that? Okay, good. Good, yeah. So this sense of like calling out, this sense of acknowledging that there's something higher than us. When we refer to pray, it means that, okay, we're trying to get something that we by our own effort may not be able to get, like as a corollary of this idea of prayer. So yes, very good. Good. Any other? Yes, sorry? Yeah, we're mammals. But what distinguishes a mammal from a human? What is a difference? Yeah, okay, they do different things. In one sense, we do quite a few things that are similar. I'll give you an example. Like, it's almost 2:00, so some of you may have had lunch. So, animals also have lunch. Animals also have dinner. I have a bedtime. I'm a monk, so I go to sleep quite early because I have to wake up quite early. So I go to sleep at around 8:00. Now, animals may not sleep at 8:00, but for sure, they do sleep also. So there are some similarities also. But one of the key differences between an animal and a human being is the human being's ability to inquire. A human being can ask questions. A human being can express their inquisitiveness. An animal cannot do so. Therefore, in the Vedic literatures, in the Vedanta Sutra, the first aphorism is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That now that you have this ability to ask questions, ask questions. And what kind of questions should one be asking? That is also hinted in the text we just read. We are all pleasure-seeking beings. Put your hands up if you want to be happy in life. Okay, some of your shoulders may be tired, so put your hands up if you want to be sad in life. Okay, so now I know everyone wants to be happy in life. No one wants to be sad. But raise your hands if you ever have been sad in your life. There has been some times. Maybe you didn't get the grades, or maybe you didn't get the promotion, or maybe your wife didn't cook what you were thinking she was going to cook because the vegetables ran out, or for some reason or other, maybe our expectations weren't met. Somehow or other, we may have experienced some sadness, or maybe dad didn't let us play with the toy, so we're sad. But no one wants sadness. No one wants to be sad. And therefore one may ask, why am I experiencing misery? Why does that happen? I don't want it, but why does it come? And actually, the same thing also happens with happiness. If hypothetically you think that I don't want to be happy, even still sometimes happiness will come. I'll give you an example. A parent may try to discipline a child, as is natural with parenting. The child may, be doing childish things, as childs do, because that's their nature. And the parent may wish to discipline them. So sometimes the child may do something funny. Children have that propensity. I also remember as a child, I would make my mum laugh. So at that time when the parent wants to discipline the child and the child does something funny, the parent is trying to put on a strict persona. But because of the humorous nature of the child, the parent may burst out laughing. And so even though they try to put on a persona of graveness, sometimes they're unable to keep it up. And so I remember one time my mum was telling me off, and I made some jokes, and she couldn't tell me off because she kept laughing. So sometimes we may not necessarily in that moment want to experience a certain emotion, but sometimes they still come. And so then begs the question that what is the cause of my happiness and distress? And if I want to be happy, then why am I not always getting it? Why am I only getting it sometimes? And the Bhagavad Gita also clearly states this. The Bhagavad Gita describes this world as dukkhalayam ashashvatam. And what that means is that this world is a reservoir of misery. Why? Because any pleasurable experience that we have is tainted with the nature of temporariness, with a temporary nature. We may be happy for various reasons, but somehow or other these things have a certain time limit to them. I'll give you an example. Gulab jamuns give me happiness because they taste very nice. But after I have 3, 4, 5 gulab jamuns, what next? I experience that taste for 5, 10, 15 minutes. What's next? Where did that taste go? It was there. I had it. It was nice. It was pleasurable. But where is it now? It's gone. Now my mouth is dry. I want more, but I can't have more because my stomach is full. So there are certain limitations. And so the Bhagavad Gita here in the purport, it is being emphasized that let us ask questions as to why am I suffering? Why does this happen to me? And how can I get away from this? How can I actually be happy in life? The spirit soul is completely spiritual. But the spirit soul in this present moment is encaged by this material body. This material body is material and the spirit soul is completely spiritual. So when the two come together, there cannot be joining symbiosis. The spirit soul cannot experience spiritual pleasure through a material body. And therefore the spirit soul ends up frustrated. We end up frustrated. Because we are trying to seek pleasure in things which may not give us the kind of pleasure we're looking for. It may give us other pleasures, but they come tainted with other side effects. It's like children sometimes have this game where you have these shapes and you put these shapes through a carving of that shape. Like you may have a triangle and you got to put it through this triangle thing. But if you try and put a cube through that triangle space, it's not going to fit. Only a triangle or a prism will fit through that triangle space. So it's a little bit like that we try to experience pleasure. But the kind of pleasure we're trying to experience, won't really give us the full satisfaction that we are looking for. And therefore, hearing is emphasized because we can hear about why am I suffering and what can I do to get out of this suffering. And that is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So I think because of time, we'll conclude here. If anyone has any questions, comments, or anything they would like to add, please feel free to do so. If there's no further comments or questions, we'll conclude. Thank you very much for your kind patience and attentive listening. Hare Krishna.